Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to The Sims 4, and welcome back to a speed build. We are doing something a little bit different today. We're doing a room, technically, but it's not quite a room, it's kind of a garden, and it's really cute. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I really wanted to build an autumn garden, but I wanted to build something that was going to be infinitely usable if you wanted to change out the decor. I really wanted to go with pumpkins. So I started with the big plots, because in the game, if you have the cottage living pack, these can actually grow giant pumpkins, which are really cool. You can grow like little normal pumpkins too, but you can grow these giant pumpkins. You can grow giant produce of any kind in these plots, or just the normal produce if you want, or flowers, or I think you can even grow trees in these, but don't quote me on that. I don't think I've ever tried it. I really liked the idea though of having just a big garden plot with a pretty picket fence around, which I ended up having a little bit of a struggle to find off the bat, because our picket fence is kind of tall, and that's not like a bad thing. And then we also have like the super small toddler one if you have toddler stuff. But again, it wasn't quite the vibe. It wasn't quite what I was hoping for. And then I found this fence from Strangerville. That's not the name of the pack, is it? I'm drawing a blank, but it comes from that pack. It's in a green swatch by default, which means I often forget about these fences because the green is really pretty. It's like a minty green, but it's not like super usable, right? So I do end up often forgetting they exist, and then I turn them into a white or black, and I'm like, oh wow, these are really cool and really usable. I just wish I remembered to use them more often. I started trying to find trees. It took a little while because I wanted to find trees where the leaves were changing, which, side note, took me a hot minute because in my build save it was summertime, and so I had to switch it to fall, which there is a cheat for that. I did not know that, but there is a cheat for that. And then I was trying to use the cheat to move time forward just a couple of days to get like the redder leaves. Turns out that cheat isn't probably working right now. It appears to be a known bug that cheat doesn't work. So just, so you're aware for your planning purposes. But I really wanted the fall, and so the poor sim that it lives on this lot had like a struggle. He had to sleep for like 3 days in a row and like go to work a couple times and not do a lot of fun stuff because I just needed the leaves to be pretty and orange. So, I think I maybe owe him a little bit. I did end up expanding the garden a little bit because I wanted a picnic area. There's a flower arranging station. We do put a pumpkin table out, a pumpkin carving table, because I felt like that was a good thing to have, obviously, with the heavy pumpkin theming that we're about to do. And I do have a bee box now. Here, I switch it to a bee box. Jury's a little bit out on whether the bees are fun or really annoying. I've had bee boxes in my last couple of personal playthroughs, and I don't know. It's kind of fun, the idea of them. I like the idea of having the bees because I like the idea of supporting the bees in real life, but I don't really know. I really wanted to do that bird feeder, but it's kind of, I don't want to say an eyesore, but it's kind of a little bit bold for what we were trying to do. It kind of didn't fit the vibe, so I ended up not, but it would be really cool to have a bird feeder in this garden. And I did put a couple of small pot plants down here because, first of all, I just like the aesthetic of it, but also it's just nice to have like a couple different options here. None of this is covered, so it is all going to be seasonally affected, although realistically you could probably butt this up against a back porch or a sunroom and then have your plants inside during the winter, and I think that would be okay. I think that would work, but I was kind of imagining this as a community garden or a garden off like in the back of a larger lot, maybe with horses or cows. I built it on the really small lot in the Cottage Living World, Henford on Bagley, and I believe it's Cordelia's lot. It's something like that, Princess Cordelia's Hideaway or something like that. It's a really pretty lot with really beautiful trees and stuff. It's a little bit bigger than just this garden, but I thought it was a good place to build. It had pretty views for taking pictures and stuff, and I did a lot of debug decorating and a lot of like manual placing decorating like this. Like I put this pretty little table out, and then I filled it with actual gardening supplies, and you'll see me dig into debug here shortly as well to start finding things like the pumpkin carving knife and the pumpkin carving, I think there's like a hook or a scoop maybe? I can't remember exactly what I put down, but I believe there's 2 tools. And then of course the greenhouse kit came in clutch with all those pots. It was really fun. Put a little bit of like cute decor too, because if it's going to be your favorite place to go garden, you obviously want some cute decor, different things like that. Lots of like detritus around gardening, right? Lots of making it look like it was usable space, but also just a lot of pumpkins. And I tried to make it look a little bit overgrown as well. I went with a lot of wildflowers. I think they're so pretty in the game, and I wanted it to look like you were just letting nature kind of grow and stuff. I went with pink and purples and oranges and yellows because while I wanted that pumpkin theme, I did want some other colors in, because you could potentially decide you don't want this to be strictly gardeny, and then you might want to change it a little bit. So those wildflowers also have a ton of swatches on them. Well, not a ton. I shouldn't say that. I think they have like 4 or 5, but they're variated swatches, right? So each swatch comes with a variance of colors. So it feels like there's a fair amount of choices there. And I did a little bit of like adding some grasses and things to try to make it look, some sunflowers, just make it look like there was lots of like, just some chaos gardening happening. I really love that idea. I thought about adding some rocks. Didn't think it made a lot of sense here because you would have cleared the plot, right? Especially with the fencing around. This probably was maybe not a garden to start and is a garden now. And here I started putting in all the different pumpkins. I had way too much fun putting in pumpkins, just like constant. I will say I did stack some pumpkins near and around the scarecrow. His name is Patchy. And Patchy, if you don't know, does have the ability to come to life in game. I have not played with that in a really long time, and to be honest with you, I don't know if he will function correctly with the pumpkins the way they are around him. So if you want to bring Patchy to life, if you want to interact with him, there is a chance you will have to move some of these pumpkins. Everything else seemed to work fine. Your results may vary. It depends what you're doing with your sim and how your sim chooses to track. I don't know if you guys have this issue. Sometimes I will build a place and the sim will be fine for like 6 in-game months, right? Like, this sim at this point will be married, have kids, right? You know, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, I can't use the couch anymore. I'm like, what do you mean you can't use the couch anymore? And they're like, the pathing is weird, I can't use the couch anymore. I will never know. I will never know why. But so I tested pretty much everything except Patchy, and it seems to work just fine, but you know, let me know if it doesn't, and we can maybe make some adjustments and, like, I don't know, upload to the gallery or something. Here I'm putting the pumpkin carving station down, which I do want to change the color of. Looking at it now, I think I would have loved to change it back, but maybe I can do that before I put it up on the gallery. I did try to put this up on the gallery, and I had a weird issue. Like, it's not a room right now, but I made it into a room. That was an oops on my part. So I turned it into a room, and it grabs everything except the garden plots. It will not recognize the garden plots as in the room. It recognizes the trees, the wildflowers, all of the accoutrement, even the debug stuff, which I thought, well, there's a chance the debug stuff won't happen. All of that, it catches, it does great on, except the garden plots, and not, like, the pumpkins themselves, like, the actual placed down dirt that we started with. So I haven't uploaded it yet because I'm not really sure what to do with that. I'm not really sure how to make that work better, but it's okay. I mean, worst case scenario, I can always just upload it as is and just let you know that you need to put the garden in the middle because the gallery's being a gallery. I don't know. It's kind of interesting like that. But I really loved this build and it felt really appropriate for autumn. And I was really excited to get it done. I was kind of hit or miss on whether or not to do a spooky build for Halloween. I have kind of a spooky build, but it's small, and honestly, I'm like kind of in the harvest mood this year, but not really in a spooky mood, which is odd because I'm not a big Halloween person, but I usually will like try to have like a few moments of like, well, maybe I'll play some Darkest Dungeons, which is a game I love. There's a little game on Steam called Haunt the House Terror Town that I got a long time ago in a Humble Bundle, like high school Amanda. And that one's really cute and fun. Like, I try to do little things about spooky season, but I haven't super been into spooky season this year. I'm enjoying harvest, but not so much spooky season. So I think this is probably about as spooky as we'll get. I do have, like I said, one little like Halloween-y build if I can get it pulled off in time. But for the most part, I do have an idea for like a witch's cottage, but that one's testing me a little bit, so that's gonna be probably a November build if I can get it done. It'll still be an autumn build, but the nice thing about occults being in The Sims is you can kind of build them anytime. It doesn't have to be relegated to spooky season. So, but this is kind of my vibe this year. I'm kind of feeling the like cozy fall garden-y vibes. I'm also having a hard time letting go of summer, man. As I'm sitting here, you can probably hear it in my voice. The weather just changed on us really badly. Yesterday was 82 degrees, I think was our high, and today the low is 28 and the high is going to be like 48 and in Fahrenheit, for those of you who are like thinking I'm on the surface of the sun. In Fahrenheit, and so like my head is all super stuffed and like my nose is all stuffed up, and I was like, no, this is terrible timing. And I've also been like making it through my work days by working out on the porch. I have a little like extension cord and things like that out there, and today it's gonna be way too cold to probably do that effectively, and I was like, no, I'm not ready for summer. So I'm trying to lean hard into like the cozy fall vibes to kind of like get myself through. I'm not a winter kid. I'm trying really hard to be a winter kid. I am not a winter kid. Summer is where it's at, man. I love the hot weather, which I know is like a super unpopular opinion. I don't know why. So back to the build though. I ended up changing out the lanterns. I am not super happy with the lighting on this lot, in terms of how, like, I just couldn't get it to be cozy in the night times. It wasn't going to. I did end up changing out the lanterns because I did the ones with the bows and I didn't love them, but I forgot about these. So then I went and switched these back out, and these made me a lot happier. I did shrink down the little octagonal ones. Now I will tell you, if you stare too closely at those, the flame will be kind of high and weird because you're not supposed to size down candles because the flame doesn't size down. But I think it's kind of okay. You're not going to probably be looking that closely, and it's probably fine. So I did a variety of like candles and lanterns and things, just trying to get it kind of warm because I was gonna do those hanging lights from, I think they're toddler stuff, but they were not working with me super well. I also did a potentially controversial thing, and I hung ceiling lights in the tree to make it look like the tree had lights. The reason this is controversial is, as you could just see there, if you zoom where the tree disappears, the lights don't disappear at the same interval. They have different triggers for disappearing. So then it does just look like there's a ceiling light hanging, and that's like a little awkward, but most of the time I think you're going to be in a situation where either the tree is there and the lights are there, or the tree is not there and the lights aren't there, and I think it's worth it for the vibes, but you can really easily remove those if you hate that. Like, it's understandable. Again, it was one of those things where I was like, you know what I wish we could do in The Sims, because I come across it fairly often, is I wish, like, I don't even know how to do it, because it'd have to be like a whole second model, and that would be so dumb, but like, it would be really cool if at least there were a few trees where like you could set them, or they had like variants with lights in them, because we have like one tree like that with lanterns, and I think we maybe have one with lights in it, but they're giant or very like biome specific, and it's a little bit hard to use them in certain applications. Like in this application, I don't think it would have worked very well, so I ended up doing it myself. Or it would be cool to just have like, you know what, now that I've said that, maybe there are hanging lights in the game. I'll have to check that out too. That would have worked. Anyways, they might have come with Love Struck and I've forgotten about them. Anyways, we're looking at the screenshots here now. I hope you like this build. I really love this build. This build gave me such cozy, warm vibes. I was having so much fun with it. You'll have to let me know how you use it and change it with the seasons. But anyways, I think I'm going to go. I hope you're having a great day and you're feeling loved. If you're not feeling loved, please know that I love you. I'm glad you exist. I'm glad you're here hanging out. You make the world, the Sims world, and the real world a better place just by being you. And if you don't believe me, just know this is what I'm doing on my lunch break instead of eating food. I like you that much. Alright, next up should be a Minecraft episode and then another speed build. Hopefully something spooky. And then I'll talk to you soon. Okay, love you. Bye. Mwah.